Sometimes you let your garden get a little shaggy, you go behind in the weeding, it happens. But instead of just ripping it all out, you get down on your hands and knees and you weed it. What I'm doing here, and I have been doing, and now I know I'll be rewarded for getting on my hands and knees. Because here we have a little basil seedling and another basil seedling in here, and that's pretty cool. Get those little volunteers as long as I come in and weed with my hands on my knees. I guess you always got to get down on your knees in these spiritual pursuits, don't you? Just like I said, adventures in terraforming. Gardening is spiritual pursuit. Doing some weeding there on your hands and knees. Get the 16 square feet I have here from Mel Bartholomew's square foot garden. Here it is, weeded, a couple hours of work on the hands and knees. So only through using your fingers and your hands, a delicate work of weeding manually, will you get the benefit of these volunteers right here, which are basil seedlings. And you can see some of the older basil here has set some seed. And this is one of the benefits actually of benign neglect. So the benign neglect lets the plants kind of do what they do, which is they will set some seed. And because I'm not mechanically in here weeding or spraying pre-emergence or herbicides, stuff sprouts. Now of course you saw how shaggy it was, so weeds sprout. You get down on your hands and knees and you pull those weeds, there's those volunteers. And I'm going to use those volunteers because in California we really got only 2 seasons, especially Southern California. A long, hot, dry season and a wet season. So right now it's near the end of summer. As the fall approaches, it's kind of like a second spring. You get some cooler temperatures and you irrigate, so you add some water. It's kind of like a second spring. So those volunteers right here, I will move out into the rest of this square foot garden here because I'm going to clean it out, because every 90 to 100 days you really got to work the garden. And this is a mere 16 square feet. So Mel Bartholomew's system, it really does give you some insight in what it takes to produce food in industrial amounts. A mere 16 square feet. It's quite easy for me to let get out of hand and get shaggy, even though I'm a semi-disciplined gardener about keeping things in some kind of state of organization. Yet 16 square feet got shaggy in 100 days. But I'm going to take advantage after weeding by hand and move those basil volunteers out to take advantage of the second spring. So another thing that changes as you get through later in the year, even though it's dry season still in Southern California, is sun angle is going to change. That means this corner right here is going to be a little more shady than it has been in the past. And this bush right here is going to be causing some more shade. Now I have to move these potted plants here to give this corner right here a little more sun, keep this from being really wet. Especially when I had some tomatoes, you can see I've cut those back heavily. But again, the second spring of California is fall, so I'm hoping to get another crop out of there before the cooler winter temperatures hit. As I've cleaned it out, I got this rock, put a little rock there, that's an empty square, and there's an empty square back there. And so my free plant material that the volunteers provide, I can just move it right in. I got my trowel here, and I can just make sure I get completely underneath, don't disturb those roots at all. And I can just move them. They don't even barely know they've been moved. Out we go. Move it out. And there, look at that. I do use my hands quite a bit instead of tools because, like I said, it's the hands and the fingers and the dirt. That's, you know, it's part of the adventure and terraforming experience. So there's a little bit of basil. Free plant material. Free. Because I don't use any herbicides, not too many chemicals really. And I tend to let my plants do for their own. Even my gardens suffer from a bit of benign neglect. I'll admit it. But there you go, look at that. Free plant material, free basil for me to move about in the square foot garden. Devote some of the squares to just flowers. There are some marigolds over there. So 2 out of the 16 are doing nothing but flowers. I think that's an interesting thing to consider. You need a little flower in your life. There is a little known Muslim proverb that if one has 2 loaves of bread, one should trade one of them for a daffodil. I think that's more about the importance of art and beauty in the world and not just the practical things. In any case, I do find the flowers have a practical application in it. They do attract bees and such, so that I have better pollination, and marigolds in particular attract beneficial insects, and so they're beautiful, but they do have a practical use as well. So some free material for the compost pile, right? All of that stuff. Not just tomato there that I kept back, those are weeds. 16 square feet produced a lot of weeds. A lot of work to just maintaining 16 square feet and making sure the stuff comes ripe when people want to eat it. So I really do suggest, when you're talking about a vegetable garden, this square foot garden system of Mel Bartholomew. Just start out with 4x4 square like this, 16 square feet, and you'll learn about what the labor is involved, as well as how every 90 days or so you're in there refurbishing, redoing, replanting. But harvesting and maintaining, it does take some daily discipline, honestly, even a mere 16 square feet. Look at all those weeds. That's just 60 days or so. The old staple gun to just nail everything down. Alright, that's gonna look awesome. All square footed out. All square footed out. It just looks so cool, right? It really does. There's my manual drone footage. Then of course it looks so nice. Got my little volunteers ready to go. Basil ready to take off in the second season. Square foot garden. Gotta love it. It will get you tuned in to how much work it really is. A mere 16 square feet. Take a lot of work.